I was afraid that something bad was going to happen.
They said like chemically, there was something imbalanced about my brain.
How? Because I'm a social worker, right? The pay really sucks, right?
If punishment does not work, right, that person, right, cannot be, I can't get through.
At the end of the day, I guess we are all just trying to live our lives in this very challenging world.
On today's episode, we will be spilling the tea on therapy, what goes behind the scenes at a counselling centre, and perhaps in the brain of a therapist. Hello everybody, welcome to an all-new podcast series of Reality Bites, a podcast series by Counselling and Care Centre. I am Shanna, your host for this podcast series. Let's take it away. And here with me today, we have our Counselling and Care team.
Hi, I'm Wei-Bin. Nice to meet you.
Maybe you can share a little bit more about, your experience.
For first 10 years of my career, primarily I work with lower income families, families with very little resources, and having high demands, but yet having a lot of challenges in their relationships and dealing with multiple stresses in life. Yeah. Later I move on to the National Kidney Foundation, where I work with families with chronic illnesses. And then I'm with Counselling and Care Centre for the last 2 years.
And over for me, it's much simpler and much shorter. I'm Paul. No history lesson here. So I'm just here to, I'm here to make sure that, I'm the head of corporate services, of course, and I'm going to here to make sure that Wei-Bin is not so unfiltered. A little bit more filtered.
More unfiltered then.
But anyway, we're here to really just share some perspectives. I think it's our goal and objective to also to have a wider audience, understand a little bit more about therapy, and of course, if we can, debunk some myths along the way, or tear down some, misconceptions about therapy. I think that will be something that we'll be happy to have achieved from these segments. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you both for the detailed introduction. Maybe one of you can, share a little bit about what Counselling and Care Centre does in systemic therapy.
Okay, maybe I'll
try not to whack us over the head with your PhD, okay?
So this is all the very serious part. What does Counselling and Care Centre does? I can't say. Counselling and Care Centre is one of the oldest counselling centres in Singapore. It has 58 years of history. So I always say, in addition to being a counselling centre, we are also providing training, consultation, supervision to different organizations in the non-profit sector. Yeah.
Okay. And how about systemic therapy?
Well, it's definitely very hard to say in layman terms, but let me try.
Challenge for you.
Yeah. Basically, a way of seeing problems that is more interactional and more non-blaming.
Is there an analogy that you can give to help us to understand this a little bit better?
So let's say, for example, I will use this. When we see there's a problem, right? So it's always how the left hand fits the right hand. So if the left hand can't fit the right hand, is it the right hand's fault or the left hand's fault? Right? So it's how the both hands coordinate and manage with each other to come together, right? So that's really the way we see things. Rather than saying, it's all this hand's fault or it's all this hand's fault.
Yeah.
So now that we have kind of given us an idea about what systemic therapy is, right? Let's set it straight for people.
Okay.
So what is therapy and how does it actually help?
I think the most important difference in therapy is you get to be helped, not physically, but helped emotionally, in a non-judgmental, this might sound wrong, but in a non-invested way. If you meet a friend, the friend is invested. Your actions, your decisions will affect your friend. He or she will have a reaction or thought about what you think. But that doesn't mean the therapists don't have a thought or the idea about what you do. But it's just that because we are not involved in your life,
right?
Hence we can focus on being non-judgmental and creating that space for you to do the work that you need to do
Right.
for yourself and for your own family.
Okay.
So it's like this studio. Whatever things we say won't affect Jian Ming's life anyway, right? So you're like, yeah, you can say whatever you want. So our expertise is on creating safety, having a holding space, and of course we are skilled in pressing the right buttons,
Right.
I suppose, to allow conversations to emerge or thoughts to be examined, to be reflected on. I think that's like one way to think about therapy.
A therapist gives you less direction, I suppose, in my own personal experience, but more in terms of helping you to understand for yourself what you wanted to achieve or where you wanted to go in the first place. I do recall, therapy used to be, there used to be some stigma, associated with therapy.
So how has people approached therapy differently then and now?
Then, which is not so far away actually, well, but I guess the impression was you only go for counselling only if you have a problem. So it's more of
your school sent you there. Or you did something wrong and then you needed to.
Yeah. If your teacher wants you to go to see someone,
I recall, when we misbehave in school, right? And then
you can send a lot.
No, you get punished, right?
I've never been sent before.
I never been said flex. We've been flex.
All right.
I just get punished.
No. So the punishment is the first step, right? The first step is always the punishment. And if punishment does not work, right, at some point in time, it's like school system or the disciplinarian has given up, so to speak, right? That's primarily where I know people are being sent to therapy. Just go and talk to somebody because that person, right, cannot be.
Yeah.
I can't get through.
Like cannot help already.
Cannot help already.
Yeah, but I think now the difference is actually the idea of what is a problem has expanded.
Wow,
That's interesting.
Deep.
Yeah.
Deep.
So what I mean by that is people. So last time maybe I need to be have feeling the pain at 7 out of 10. Then I will go for therapy. Now people feel the pain at 4. Oh, okay, I'll just go and check it out.
But devil's advocate here, right? Is it really an expansion or is it just different? If you reframe and say that, okay, right now it's just not the main problem for me. Maybe relationships are the main problem for me. So it's just different in this.
No, actually I don't know. I will just jump in here. It's very hard to say. Let's say I was 28. Let's say when I was 28.
Right.
And life was great then. And I remember thinking to myself, it's getting a bit too good. I was afraid that something bad was going to happen because things was going too good.
I feel that all the time. I feel like the other shoe is going to drop any moment. Yeah.
So then, like, what is going to happen if something bad is going to happen? So let's say I have this issue, and I want to go and see someone,
right?
And talk about it. I wouldn't know who to talk to. Like, I don't even have a real health problem. Why I go to A&E for what? You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
So then the other option is I can pay a lot of money and see a private practitioner, who I have no resources for. But now there's like so much supply and as services are more accessible, and hence the barrier to seek help becomes lower.
But devil's advocate again. So the anxiety was still real. It's just that at that point in time, there were fewer avenues. There was either you pay for what I'm hearing from you, right?
Yeah.
Basically, you either pay for a expensive therapy session, or you just sort of manage it on your own.
Yeah.
So some things I'm hearing is really the anxieties are real. Yeah. The issue, the specific issues themselves may be different. Yet at the same time, maybe for this generation, getting a hit means something totally different, right? Like maybe you got more hits on your socials.
On my YouTube page. Actually, it's interesting that you all raised that out, right? Because, hearing about you were saying you were having struggles and anxieties, finding a job, comparing. And there's actually an article, right, that said that Gen Zs nowadays are more frequently diagnosed with behavioral disorders like addiction, mental health conditions compared to previous generations.
Yeah.
Another article cited that the reason why is because of pressure of finding job, indecision when faced with multiple choices, body image, relationship compatibility, getting support from community. It largely sounds like it's very similar. Do you think that the older generation today, or maybe like, when y'all look at Gen Zs, y'all say, oh, they are less resilient, or like they cannot suck it up. That's why they have to go and find help.
Okay, so I can't really say, but I will just tell you the effect on me.
Okay.
So when I hear you say, oh, there's Gen Z, I don't really know how old are Gen Zs, but when Gen Zs
younger people. Younger people, I guess.
Diagnosed and all that, I start to feel very anxious. I wonder, right? So because sometimes it's very interesting. We say, oh, we try to destigmatize counselling. We try to destigmatize mental health. Then does it paradoxically creates over-identification?
Yeah.
Because everybody is saying, oh, yeah, I have this, I have that.
Yeah. Like you guess like me, or like you cause me trauma.
Yeah. Like trauma is like
a big word.
It's like an overused word. Or maybe terms have changed its meaning over time as well. So maybe what today is called trauma used to be just called disturbing memories.
Oh, okay.
Right? Or I'm very affected by this.
But is it then downplaying?
So it's hard to say, right? I can't answer this very conclusively or convincingly, because is it downplaying it, or is just how I manage it, how I make sense of it? Many people might not think about this, but it's about another big word, multiple realities, right? What you think is real to you. There used to be an authority that defined what is real. Everybody just follow this reality. Like Matrix, is it?
Multiverse now is
so Matrix
inward.
But last time Matrix is like the alternative reality. But at least you only got the alternative reality to deal with.
Only got one.
Now it's multiple realities, multiverse. Is it fair to say as human beings we need some reality?
That's true.
You need a ground to stand on, right?
Yeah.
You can't have no ground to stand on. To be able to stand, presume the presence of ground.
You understand? Wow.
True. Yeah. You need to have something to stand on.
Yeah.
Do we feel that the next generation is softer, right? So on the one hand, we do applaud what I'm hearing from Wei Ping as well. We do applaud that there is definitely more accessibility. So like I said, the anxiety was real. What Wei Ping shared earlier on when he was in his 20s, right?
We are validating you.
Validating you.
Yeah.
But so the very fact that a 28-year-old today has these avenues to take, that is something that I think there's a hip hooray inside of me, right? But yet on the other hand, we are also concerned concerned about, hey, you know what? Where does it stop? Where does the ground hit bottom, right?
Yeah.
In a sense that are we, and hence the words like over medicalization of the term, are we over diagnosing some of these things, etc. So that's just the tension that I feel exists that we need to deal, that we are dealing with on a constant basis. Yes.
Yeah.
You got something to say? PhDs.
No, I think something has to be said about medicalization and over-identification. I mean, I can't overemphasize that we are really living in a world where there's also a crisis in expertise, in a sense that there are too many knowledges that is valid. Every knowledge is valid. And then at the end user point, it's like then which knowledge is more valid than the other. Then the end user have to be the one that is wise to say, this knowledge is valid, but maybe not for me.
Yeah.
And that knowledge is valid, but maybe another time. At this moment in time, this valid knowledge is for me.
Yeah.
You know, Chinese. That means there are 4 valid knowledge. Right? It's like how to lose weight, keto diet, intermittent fasting, calorie count.
It's like you've been looking into it.
Yeah, of course. I okay. Anyway, so you do all that. The danger is, if one knowledge or one idea tries to dominate, then everybody will think keto is the only way. Intermittent is the only way. Right? So that's the biggest worry. And every option has cost implication. If you see a counselor, you see a psychologist, you see a psychiatrist, you see a coach, there's investment in your time, investment in resources, investment in the method that the professional is going to suggest to you. Yeah, so it's going to be, wow.
but do you think that's a road that we're going down? That
We're already there.
Yeah.
We're already there. But my concern is that everybody starts to think that, a certain path is the only path and there's something wrong with me.
But again, devil's advocate, right? So that's the role I play here today. But basically, what do you think creates that overarching view of one idea over the rest? That means, what do you think perpetuates it?
Well, sometimes it's power of professionals.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's no secrets, right? Like, let's say in all the mental health professionals, the psychiatrists will be the most powerful. The medical model, which will be the model that cognitively we are all going to be more used to, right?
Yeah.
The medical model is that something is wrong with your brain.
Yeah,
right?
like when I was younger, then I think I saw a psychiatrist because I was diagnosed with OCD. They said like chemically there was something imbalance about my brain. So that was how I understood it. Yeah.
So I'm still trying to get over how you diagnosed with OCD.
Sorry, I just like, I trauma dumped.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you just traumatized me there.
It's called vulnerability.
yeah, but it's just amazing, right? So this is a very good situation, example. So if someone comes to see me and say she has been diagnosed with OCD, then the next question that I'm most likely going to ask, okay, before I say that, is what kind of questions do you think a counselor will ask?
What are some intrusive thoughts that you have?
Right, very interesting. So what are some intrusive thoughts you will have?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that question suggests, I'm not sure this is going too chim or not, but I'm just... Okay,
Terrifying me.
That question suggests that I buy your definition that you do have OCD.
Oh.
Because I already asked what intrusive thoughts do you have?
The word intrusive thought. So he's already making the assumption that your thoughts are intrusive
Yes,
because of what you have said.
And that is a common way to, because it's an obsession.
Yeah.
So we assume that obsession are intrusive against the assumption.
Yeah.
Because I can feel that my obsessions are not intrusive. Don't you take away my obsession. I love my obsession. Hello? Yeah, my obsession for a reason. Okay. Just a joke. Okay, but I'm just saying. Okay, so that question suggests that I already buy your definition of the problem.
Right.
So, a systemic therapist, there would be more likely to... So when you say you're OCD, in what way are you OCD?
Oh.
Could you explain a bit more about your OCD-ness? Right, so I'm getting you to kind of
share more
for
you assume.
In our terms, we say deconstruct. Like, I call this a cup.
Yeah.
Then I'm asking, in what way is this a cup? It's a cup because it holds water.
Right.
So will it be still a cup if I throw it at you?
It'll be an object of weapon.
Yeah.
Oh.
So systemic idea is this idea that one thing can be seen in multiple ways.
Interesting.
And hence, because of different ways of seeing the same thing, then we explore if there's a way to see the same thing in a way that maybe just energize you more.
Right, resonates with me lah.
Well, whether it resonates with you or whether it energizes you, don't resonate with you, but it could energize you more. It's an idea that you like to play with, entertain a bit more, and that's fine. All right, because some ideas could put you down, and some ideas could give you more strength.
Right.
Right, because at the end of the day, I guess we are all just trying to live our lives in this very challenging world, and we're just getting by, right?
Yeah.
So I think so it's a very humble, very humanistic way of helping people. That doesn't assume that there's something fundamentally wrong inside you. Yeah. That's the lecturer talking.
I just got therapized.
No, it was a lecture.
Your PhD, whipping out your PhD.
Smack you over the head.
Okay, it was nice, getting into a mind of a therapist. Just now I caught you mention something about demand and supply. It's about demand and supply.
Yeah.
So then my question to you then is, right, I mean, if there's no demand for cases, if there's no demand for cases, then there's no need for a supply of like the sector.
Yeah. So there's a lot of state intervention. So actually we are very supply driven. Divorced couples have to see a counsellor before they divorce.
Right.
MOE has school counsellors, for specific students, etc., etc. If I define it based on the total number of counsellors in Singapore, I would say a lot are still hired within agencies. Not many, although there has been an increase. Of course, that creates a different set of concerns as well.
Since we're on this topic of government, which is public, and then private, right?
Yeah.
Someone actually asked, what's the difference between public and private counsellors? Maybe I'm struggling with anxiety. I don't really know public or private. And my only idea about these differences is private more expensive. Public, maybe I go polyclinic, I need to wait 3 months. That's the only knowledge that I have. Apart from that, what are some...
Okay, I will put it this way. You go to public, so-called, actually they're not public. They're just government-funded non-profit organizations. You go to organization as such, it is more likely you have less bargaining power to decide how the services is going to be rendered to you. That again, there's an assumption that private has more. Okay, what I mean by that is when you go to a organization like that, a government-funded organization, the first cut they are likely going to do is to see whether you fall under their scope of services. So that's the first thing they do. Because they are funded for a certain purpose. They were like, oh, you like this, you go there. Then you go there, then say you like this, you go here. Right? So you might get a bit of that. So it's not really a waiting time issue.
So they're kind of like buckets that you have to fall under.
Yes.
Okay.
So you go to a private will tell you, I can take your case. They are incentivized to take your case. In terms of quality, again, if you systemic about it, it's left hand, right hand. It's a fit. So it depends on what the person is asking.
Okay. Left hand, right hand fit, right? Another person also asks.
Yeah.
So whether is it public or private, when you go into sessions, how do you know if it's a right fit with a therapist?
I mean, if you feel comfortable, it's the right fit.
But how do you define comfortable then?
Well, that's a very tough one, right? Because some of us are very comfortable with toxic relationships.
Whoa, that escalated fast.
No, it's true. Like sometimes, what I'm trying to say is sometimes we don't know, is this normal? Is this how I should be treated? That's what I mean, right? We don't know we are being disrespected or so.
Okay, but what if they want to break up with their therapist? So someone said, for clients who want to break up with their therapist, if it's not a right fit, how can they do
therapist.
Go to the therapist. Give a trauma.
They will get it after a while.
Really? Have you been ghosted before?
Is that how you manage all your relationships?
As a counselor, I ghost people.
Wait, let me think.
Yeah.
I have. I have been. But don't worry. I mean, I have
Nobody worry.
I have been ghosted before. I had this client. I did a home visit, but then after that, I tried to follow up. Then they went on a holiday, came back. I tried to follow up after the holiday. Then they just didn't reply me. And then the number is not valid anymore or something like that.
Really ghosted.
Yeah, really ghosted. They even changed the number or whatever. But if you want, so let's say in this situation, right, you ghost the therapist, don't worry, the therapist will move on because the therapist is so busy. Or another way is just tell the therapist upfront. The therapist will recover or be able to take it because they are very busy. They'll just move on in life.
Okay.
I'm just going to chime in here because I want to go back to your original question.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is really a layman view, right? So if you ask about fit of the therapist as well as when you know how do you communicate to the therapist that you want to stop seeing. Because fit is a very big word. Are you talking about chemistry? Are you talking about actions that are taken against you that are not correct?
I think the worrying part, I think is we always go back to this, right? Is we are not licensed. There's no licensing. So you can't get your license revoked because there's no license in the first place.
Right.
So I don't know how long we can avoid this. Yeah, like something really bad happened in a session and it becomes a court case and all that. And you get a lot of publicity, bad publicity. Then the whole profession gets licensed because of that. Then it becomes like the reason why we are licensed is because we need to be controlled. Then it will not be ideal. We should be licensed because we are trying to protect the quality of care.
Of course, it's always best if it's not reactive, lah. But well,
Sometimes,
above our pay grade.
Next. Okay, next. Yeah. Okay, next. Right. So, I was scouring through Reddit and reading for people who are looking for therapy, counselling. A lot of them are actually asking the internet for tips. They're like, oh, how do I go about therapy? What's the first step? Financially, what's the process like to get there? And I think the ambiguity just seems very intimidating for a lot of people. So as like people from the counselling sector, what's something you think that people need to know before coming into therapy?
So there are a lot of different mental health professionals. Then there's the registered counsellors. There are 8 programs in Singapore. Counselling and Care Centre runs one of the 8. Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. So as a registered counsellor, you are someone who has done one of the 8 courses and have at least 2 years of clinical experience, supervised.
Okay.
So I just want to make a further distinction. I can be a member of Singapore Association of Counsellors, but not a registered counsellor. It's different, huh? I can be a member. I just pay membership fee, but I'm not a registered counsellor.
Right.
I can be a registered counsellor, but not a member.
I think we got a distinction. Two examples ago.
But the funny thing next is somebody said, the scary part is 1 in 2 people who go into this line are religious. Why? I have no clue. So then the question is here, obviously as an individual, right, you have a value system. Where's the line that gets drawn when you are, in therapy?
So if a therapist's personal life becomes a bit too transparent to the client, then one might argue then the therapist have stepped out of his or her line as he or she is trying to help. Then one might question whether he or she was doing therapy. Because if I'm trying to set you on the right path, then I would be invested in what you choose to do. Hence, if you choose not to do what I'm asking you to do, then
You're wrong.
And it doesn't become safe.
Yeah.
Religious leader, for better or worse, primary role is truth, untruth,
Yeah.
right and wrong.
Yeah.
So by virtue of this role in itself, for him to play a role of a counselor
Yeah.
may be tricky.
Tough. Yes.
Unless, right, the person that is seeking help from him wants that clarity of right and wrong. So it's to me, right, I still review it, press it back down to the individual. What does that individual want? Now, for the counselor, I think I just go back to what we've been mentioned earlier on in terms of the role of the counselor, right? The role of the counselor is to help you find harmony within yourself in the decisions that you're making, whether that be consistency of your own personal values, consistency in the decisions that you have been making in your life, or to help you understand why you're making these decisions, right? That is that's how I see the difference.
Right.
So I would reframe it as, what does that individual want to achieve for their life? That will be the path that they take.
Then the counselor will be more likely to say, why is this question so important to you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's more, so the question will be different. Why is this question so important to you?
Right.
So as you are even contemplating doing this, who do you think you might disappoint or let down? And who do you think will be encouraging you? So how is that for you, that despite the fact that there's so many people that you might potentially disappoint, you are still very seriously considering this course of actions? Now, how do you make sense of that for yourself? If you were to not do that, how would that make you, how would that make a difference, for example? So this might be some of the questions a counsellor from Counselling and Care, maybe, I don't know, they might not, all my colleagues might say, no, that's not what we're going to do.
But the primary objective here is to really help to distill the different.
But you see, so I'm not invested in a way that he does it or he doesn't do it, or she does
non-judgmental lah.
Yes, non-judgmental, but I'm just trying to hold that space for him or her to work it through.
Got it.
Yeah, okay.
Got it. Thanks, baby. We have finally come to the end of the first episode of Reality.
Bye.
Right, so we hope this episode has been as insightful and fun for you.
I still think therapy is.
Maybe you can leave in the comments below. In the next episode, we will be talking about the Singaporean dream. What is success anymore, and is the definition of success changing in these 5-10 years? Am I going down the right path, and why is life so pressurizing? So if you feel the same as me, then you can stay tuned for the next episode when we talk about it, right? So if you like this episode, please share it with your friends, hit the like button, and comment below what was your favorite part. Remember to follow us on our socials here. Thank you, and once again, reality.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.